What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, week 4 of the GPC League, where I am up against Josh Castillo, coach of the Texas Turtwigs. So if you guys are excited, don't forget to leave a like down below, I would really appreciate it. We're currently 2-1 and he is currently 3-0, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see if we can take out the undefeated, one of the undefeated players. So he can be potentially bringing, as always, as I should have mentioned, we're going to go through what he could be bringing, what we're going to be bringing to answer his draft, and then finally we're going to go into the battle from there. So he has got the Latias, Virizion, Manectric, Manaphy, Arcanine, Togekiss, Scizor, Piloswine, and Gigalith. So a few things to note when I was looking at it. Overall, there doesn't seem to be too much that's like a huge prominent threat to my team, if that makes sense. Like for example, if the Latias wants to drop Dracos and stuff, I've got my a really good check to it in the form of Florges. That's nice. The Virizion, I've got fairly good sort of overall bulk and a lot of things that outspeed it, so unless it's Scarf, I've got really good ways to revenge it. Overall, his team is quite a bit slower than a lot of my revenge killers that I could be bringing, like Landorus outspeeds most of his team. It beats everything that's like Manaphy, Arcanine, Togekiss, Scizor, Piloswine, and Gigalith, and outspeeds all of them, so that's pretty good. So overall, I felt I had a little bit of advantage in terms of my speed, and also had a lot of checks to potential things like, Rotom was going to be really key because it helps me check, the Scizor. I can check the Manaphy because I'm Scarf, spoiler alert. So it was overall, I felt the matchup was sort of fairly even. There didn't seem to be, oh no, maybe not even, but from my perspective, I didn't see any big, super scary threats that I had to try and deal with. Obviously, Scizor is always something you have to try and deal with because it's so bulky and it has setup potential and stuff like that. So what we'll do, probably best thing is to run through the set. So Latios, I really wanted to bring, because when you look at it, like Virizion, you can Psychic it. Manectric, you can Draco Meteor. Manaphy, you can Thunderbolt. Arcanine, you can Psychic. Togekiss, you can Thunderbolt. HP 5 for Scizor. Piloswine, so I can hit like everything on his team incredibly hard. The only thing that's the real downside to the set is the Hidden Power Fire, because Hidden Power Fire, as you can see here, gives you 30 IVs and speed. So that means if I'm up against the Latias, 100% of the time I lose that matchup. And I've just got to basically, because it was so good, I had to basically just suck it up, take it for what it was worth, and bring it anyway, but just accept the fact that I can't 1v, risk the speed tie basically versus that Latias. I have to leave and get out of there every single time or sack it off. So that was kind of the plan with that, and as I said, coverage to hit everything incredibly hard. Like Thunderbolt was really nice coverage. Like even if the Manectric comes in and gets +1, it's not that bad. Like I can take a HP Ice because I'm pretty, naturally specially defensive, and I can just fire off a Psychic or Draco Meteor and just blow him back from there. So that's pretty nice. Next up, we got the start of our Mega Lopunny Landorus Icore with Mega Lopunny with Return, Fake Out, Fire Punch, and High Jump Kick. Now, because his fastest thing is base 110, I have the liberty here to get a Adamant Mega Lopunny. I consider going for more HP investment to take Bullet Punches and E-Speeds, or do I go for Adamant to get more Okos? And to be honest, I was like, getting Okos is the main thing. Like, you just need to be able to consistently get those Okos. So going Adamant is definitely the better way to go. We get more damage with our Fake Outs, we get more damage with our Fire Punches, our High Jump Kicks do a lot more. So overall, it was just definitely worth, putting that extra bit into attack there rather than investing it into HP. So it's a very sort of standard set, with the only thing obviously being Fire Punch, because I can, safely go for Fire Punch versus Virizion. His doesn't have the most reliable switch-ins to this guy. Like, at the time I was expecting like defensive Arcanine or potentially like a defensive Togekiss to try and take it on, and obviously bulky Scizor, if he's at a good amount of HP, can take a Fire Punch. So I will need to, that was part of the aim, was to try and wear down the Scizor and stuff like that. Next we got Banhammer, the Landorus, which unfortunately, the biggest saddest thing, I couldn't make this guy shiny. I tried making him shiny and then it threw up an error saying that because it's an event only with Sheer Force, I can't give it a shiny or something like that. So we've got a set here. We've got Stealth Rock, because he's got things that weak Stealth Rock, like the Manectric, Arcanine, Togekiss, Togekiss, and I think that's everything else. And everything else takes a bit chip damage from from Stealth Rock, which is pretty nice. As you can see, I haven't actually got Defog on here. I couldn't fit it on with the coverage, and I decided it was best just to go all out offense for my Latios. So I'm playing a bit risky, but my aim is if I can get rocks up on his side, he's got a lot of defoggers. He doesn't have any rapid spinners, so he can be doing the hazard removal for me basically. And then U-turn, because I'm expecting either like I'm probably his most standard switch would be the Latias, because that's the or the Togekiss, because those two, you know, have the ability to be immune to Earth Power, or if he's got, what would you call it, Air Balloon on something. So having U-Turn's really nice. Pops Air Balloons, basically their prep has broken, and I can switch out from there. U-Turn hits at Latias fairly hard, doesn't hit Togekiss too hard, but I've got a lot of switch-ins to Togekiss, so that was kind of the plan with that there. And we got max speed because we can outspeed the Manaphy. So we've got lots of nice checks. We've got Thunderbolt to check Manaphy. We've got Mega Lopunny to check Manaphy. So overall, I'm pretty happy with countering Lopunny offensively. And yeah, that's basically the set there. We're going a little bit more offensive with our Florges. We've got 248 and 244 in defense with a modest nature with Moonblast and Him Power Fire, Calm Mind and Synthesis. So this set is designed to set up at +1/+1. There's not much that actually takes me on. You know, Moonblast does a really good amount of damage with base 112 attack, special attack. And his only real check there is the Mega Scizor, which is where the Babiri Berry set comes in. So the Babiri Berry, which is a mouthful, is a berry that allows me to half the damage a steel type move that's going my way. So if he goes for that Bullet Punch to try and take me out, I can take it on the chin, I can fire back a Him Power Fire, and basically that's, if I'm at +1, with Stealth Rocks, the standard max HP 200 special defense investment, I get a kill. So that's pretty good. So even if this guy doesn't get the kill on the Mega Scizor, it's enough to then help Mega Lopunny potentially sweep from there. We've also got the Synthesis. So the Synthesis is because I can't fit Wish and Protect on there, and I needed the Him Power Fire, because otherwise I'm sort of... Mega Scizor causes me a lot of problems from there, and I can't touch it anyway, so there's no point setting up. So that's kind of the plan with that. I can set up my Calm Minds on a lot of things. He actually doesn't have a +1/+1, as I said. Mega Scizor is his only real check, so he's kind of... I'm forcing him into a position. I guess the Arcanine is the only other exception, which he could come in. But yeah, overall, hopefully, you know, a set that would put in the work there. Next, we've got an Assault Vest Electrifire. This does a number of things. This helps me check the Mega Scizor. Because I've got enough bulk, I can take, you know, a few bullet punches, which is nice. I've got the Flamethrower, which hits it hard. Thunderbolt, which, because I wanted to go for special attacking, I don't want to have to go for Wild Charge, get worn down, and all of that stuff. It gives me a semi sort of check to Manaphy, like I can switch it. It's not the best, I must admit, because we don't outspeed. But it's still, you know, if it's a bulky Manaphy, then we might be able to, you know, do some damage to it. And stuff like that, and I can basically switch into a lot of special attackers and, you know, take a little bit of damage. I don't want to be switching this into really powerful hits, but it's, you know, a nice check to things like Scarf, Togekiss, and stuff like that, because I can take those air slashes pretty well, especially with that Assault Vest. And then finally, we've got the Choice Scarf Rotom Wash, which nickname didn't work for that. I do apologize. I had a think for a while about this set. So originally, I was thinking I can go defensive with like T-Wave and Toxic. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I don't really know if that's the best way to go for this guy's team. And overall, you know, while it works quite well, you know, the thing is, Mega Scizor is just going to switch out. There's lots of checks and things that can wall break a defensive Rotom Wash like Latias. Manectric is neutral, Manaphy if it's got Energy Ball, and stuff like that. So I thought overall Choice Scarf's probably the best way to go. So we got the Hydro Pump on there, which is what I'm going to be clicking a lot of the time, because it hits a lot of his team pretty well. Obviously Manaphy not too well, but it just mainly depends on what he decides to bring. We got Volt Switch there to get initiative. If he doesn't bring the Piloswine, or the Manectric, then we basically can Volt Switch every time for free. Discharge, because that gives me a check. If the Manaphy starts setting up Tail Glows, I can go for Discharge and sacrifice. I do sacrifice 10 power, but I think it's worth it for that extra paralysis chance. And then finally, the Will-O-Wisp there, Scarf Will-O-Wisp, because that helps me a lot. You know, if the it means I get basically guaranteed to take on the Mega Scizor. I don't have to be like, if he was like a Speed Crept set for my defensive set, he could still set up the SD, go for the Bug Bite, and do a huge amount of damage to me. Whereas this way, I know I'm guaranteed to outspeed. I can go for that Will-O-Wisp and, you know, cripple the Mega Scizor from there. So that's the team that I decided to bring here. And what we're going to do now is move over to the battle, where you can guys see exactly what went on. Okay, so we are at the battle, and as you can see, he decides to bring the Togekiss, Mega Scizor, Manectric, Latias, Piloswine, and also the Virizion. Looking at it, I was like, actually, Piloswine's got a fairly, like, pretty difficult for me to kill, so I'm going to have to watch out for that. The main game was trying to, first of all, wear down the Scizor, and also identify what Scarfer he's got, because this... With how his team was constructed and the fact that nothing outspeeds Mega Lopunny, I'm expecting at least one Scarfer to try and check that. So we need to try and work out which Pokemon it was. So it's either most likely going to be the Latias, but then it could also be, you know, with Latias with Trick or something like that would be my most expected set. But there could also be the, Togekiss could be Scarf, Next up, I would say Virizion as being the next Scarfer, and then finally the Scarf Manectric, though I would say that that's probably the order of likeliness. So I decide here, I'm going to lead off my Mega-Lop on it. I can get some fake out chip damage on something, and that's going to be very nice. Even if he leads up with the Latias and I think he might be Scarf, I can still switch out. So I get some damage on the Mega Scizor, which is nice. Any chip damage on this guy is always good. As I pivot into my Rotom here, as he goes into his Togekiss, and I force him out here, I miss my Will-O-Wisp, which is a shame, because I need to try and work out what sort of set this is. Deltos, I know, can switch in and take a hit, and now he reveals a Toxic, so I was like, okay, we can cross that off. That's probably not going to be a Scarfer. You never know, though, but we can always scout for that. Out comes the Togekiss. I go for a Psychic, and it does 53%. So here, this was a really tricky part, because I knew, obviously, I 2-hit KO'd. I looked at the investment that that the Togekiss would need to take that on. It would need to be max HP, so it's like, is it going to be Scarf? I'm not 100% sure. So I decide the safest thing to do here is to switch out into Electivire because I can take the hit. And out comes Piloswine here. So I could have got an extra hit off. It was playing arguably too safe maybe on my part, considering I saw he was max HP invested. But still, I didn't want to be there and take anything particularly bad. So I'm going to get back into Rotom, and finally we get a burn on this guy. So if he's a physical set, we're pretty much good to go here. I can go back into my Latios, take the hit. So Latias is getting quite worn down here, so I have to be really, really careful. Here I decide HP Fire is probably the best bet, because I'm expecting, I'm not expecting the Togekiss to come in. I'm expecting most likely the Mega Scizor, because he can take a Draco, he can take a Psychic move. So I'm going to click the HP Fire here and see what happens as he goes into his Latias. So that was a real shame. I should have dropped a Draco there, because then we'd have been in a much better position. And he is able to take me out with the Psyshock. I was convinced this guy was going to be Scarf at this point, because considering the Togekiss wasn't Scarf, that wasn't Scarf, the Manectric, as I said, was the least likely one. I was like, this guy's probably Scarf. I'm going to force him to lock himself into either Draco Meteor or Psyshock, and now what I can do is I can go into my Oprah Wind Fairy, and I can get my Carmine up. So out comes the Togekiss here, and I just fire off a Moonblast because I look at the calc and I can kill. Toxic's going to be really unfortunate, because it's going to put our Garner time, especially without leftovers. Out comes Mega Scizor here, so I was like, right, there's the plan. We're going to click HP Fire, but unfortunately, he makes an absolutely excellent play here. Goes for the U-turn to scout that HP Fire, and goes into Piloswine. So Piloswine is going to be able to take that on the chin, and I'm going to bring myself down to 50%. I'm going to switch back out here into my Rotom, because I know I can take any hit, as he just goes far off an EQ here. Now I can blow him back with a Hydro Pump, but he's specially defensive, so he's able to take that hit and fire off another Toxic. So there's all these Toxics going onto my team. I need to be really careful. I need to basically put as much pressure on, because right now, these Toxics are going to be wearing me down. So, out he goes again into the Virizion, as I'm going to fire off another Hydro Pump, get some chip damage, which is nice. Getting any damage on this Virizion is going to be really, really good. I can switch out here, look to the calcs, and I realise Electivire can probably take this on, because he doesn't have any special attack investment, and I'm Assault Vest, and now I can decide what to do. So I fire off an Ice Punch here, and unfortunately, this guy comes back out. So I'm forced back out here. I do have the Focus Blast, but I was like, I still need this guy to check Manectric. It beats the Mega Scizor 1v1, and, you know, I can take a hit from Virizion and kill. So overall, it's still very useful, and I've got to switch in with Rotom here. So I switch into Rotom, as he does go for an Icicle Crash. Rotom is getting very worn down here. I'm playing far too passively, so I I need to, start playing a lot more offensively. So I decide here, as you can see, to just go for another Hydro Pump, take out this Virizion, and basically double down. Now this is where it got a little bit tricky, because I had to try and work out what to go into here. And as you can see, he goes into the Latias, as I decide to go into Electivire, because I knew outside of this guy coming in, I could take on the rest of his team. But unfortunately, the thing I didn't want him to go into did come out. So I'm like, okay, what's he going to lock himself into? He locks himself into Psyshock. So I've got two options here. I could go into Landorus here, or I could go into my, my Florges, because I knew then I could recover up and stuff like that. I had to think about it. I was like, actually, part of my problem when I'm playing this is I'm valuing my Landorus and my Lopunny so much that I'm holding them back. I'm not actually using them, if that makes sense. And it's definitely something I'm going to take forward to future games. Is rather than keeping them in the back and using them like late game to sweep, I need to actually put the pressure on and get hits. And Landorus needs to actually be out there and wall breaking. I'm not using them to their potential because I'm scared of losing them, but I shouldn't be scared of losing them and still getting it, if I get a lot of damage off. So I go into my Landorus here, and I decide U-turn's my best bet. If he goes for Psyshock, I don't take too much, and I can go into my Florges, get my recovery up, and, you know, and get some nice damage on this guy, which could make a big difference. But he reveals the Draco here, and this is where that was a big mistake. He ends up being the, not Babiri Berry, Gatlon Berry, which allows him to take on Dragon-type moves, so he could 1v1 my Latios. So, unfortunately, we are going to double down here. I know, I'm gonna die here, but he is able to stay alive. So, this still gives me the chance to recover up. So, I recover up with Synthesis, out comes Young Swine, and I'm able to fire off a Moonblast here and take him out. But it is going to, I'm going to start getting worn down here. I'm forced to stay in here because I can't switch out to take a Psyshock onto anything. Moonblast is going to come through and take this guy out, but I'm aware my Toxic is really dropping now, and it's going to be a very, very close game. So he goes for Bullet Punch here. I eat my Babiri Berry and take that on the chin. Now, this is where it got interesting because according to my calcs, I thought he was going to be like 252 investments with no defense investment at all. So I decided Fake Out's my best bet. I'm not expecting this guy to be Scarf. If I go for Fake Out, I can return this guy, guaranteed kill. So that's my best bet. And he stays in with Mega Scizor. Now, we talked about this after. This was actually a misplay on his part. He would have been better off switching out because he was guaranteed then to take the HP fire on the chin. Whereas now he was actually, because he was impish, apparently, he was able to guaranteed live the hit, but because of the Fake Out, it was now a roll about whether I would kill or not. So I think the maximum was 88, so it was still, you know, a good roll in his favor. So he decided to stay and risk it here, as I just go for the Fire Punch, and I get the high roll, which I, you know, obviously do apologize about, and I do get the kill from there. Out comes my main man. I looked at the calcs. I could either go for a turn here, or I could go for High Jump Kick. Return, if he was 0 HP invested, I would kill. If he had 32 investment, which would be left over for Speed Creeping Landorus Eye, which is my next slowest thing, it was 87% to chance to kill. So I was like, overall, I think we'll go down the safe middle. High Jump Kick is probably, statistically, even though it doesn't sound it, statistically, it's probably my best bet. So I went for the High Jump Kick, connect the High Jump Kick, and we do get the kill from there. So we are going to finish off with a win. But as we said, we thought, you know, if he switched out there and was able to not take the Fake Out damage, I think it would have been actually a win in his favor because he had Superpower and also the Bullet Punch, and he had enough of investment to be able to 2-hit KO me with the combination of those two moves. But luckily, we do finish off with the win here, so I hope you guys did enjoy. We're currently 3-1, which is really, really nice. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to leave a like and also check out Josh's stuff. All his links will be down in the description, and I will see you guys at the next one. Macadii out.